the first thing I would say to somebody who said they want to be on Broadway is that get ready to work hard. I'm Paul Daniel. I'm from all over the Midwest, and I'm 32. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology and a minor in drama, and I did a master's degree at the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama, which is now called the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, and that was in musical theatre performance. It was different for me going to a master's program at a conservatory as opposed to a liberal arts school, because the conservatory training was very performance specific. Well, my experience as a performer definitely helped inform my choices I make as a composer, and I think that was a real benefit to me, because as an undergraduate student, just having studied a lot of classical music, I didn't really understand how important it was to write for the actor. For the vast majority of people who end up on Broadway, I think it has come about after often years of hard work, never stopping and never getting down to the point that you quit, give up, and throw in the towel. And it's really easy to get to that point and get disenchanted. And you have to be relentless and knock down every door you can. Take matters into your own hands. It's so unlikely that you will just write a show and that somebody will happen to come across it and then come to you and say, hey, I have $5 million and I want to put your show up. You really need to not only have the skills to be a composer, but you also have to have the tenacity of a business person who is relentlessly promoting their own material. So that means putting things in festivals, that means putting things up on YouTube, that means giving your music away. Whatever it takes to get your music out there and get people listening to it is going to really help you out along the way. When I get an idea for a song, I spend quite a bit of time with it in my head, actually. First, it's up here, and then it's really a matter of a day or so where I actually sit down at the piano and I write out the sheet music and then solidify all the lyrics. As long as it is only in your head, it can be like any other melody or any other idea. It's really no good to anyone until you can hand somebody that sheet of music and you can email them the demo recording, and then it's kind of feels like another piece you've added to your log of compositions. It's something that feels much more like you've accomplished something. I don't usually write songs with singers in mind in my head. Sometimes I do, but it's more about the style, and I'm kind of a rude composer in that when I'm writing for girls, I usually just tend to put in the most idealized high belts or gorgeous soprano high C's and D's and E's, whatever it might be. I kind of write from an idyllic standpoint. I think one thing you realize straight away when you're creating musical theater or theater in general is that you will always have to work with other people. And if you're very precious about your material, like very precious about it, it's unlikely that you're going to make it very far. It's a good skill to learn early on, because some songs will end up in the bin. Of a chunk of scene you write might not be workable and you have to change the whole thing. So part of being a theater professional is learning to do what works. And sometimes what works is not what works in your opinion, but what works for the majority of the other people on the creative team. And you have to be willing to let that go and adjust when you need to. I think one of the most important things is to remember that when you're in the theater industry that you need to maintain a balance. To be committed to your art, but also know when to concede a little bit and say, well, you know what, maybe I don't need that song to go that way. You constantly have to weigh those things out, balance commercialism and artistry. And commercialism isn't always the dark side, and it's not always the bad thing. If your focus is to be on Broadway, you need to pull out all the stops to make it happen. Thanks for checking out our videos. please subscribe to them and visit our websites as well at what'sthebenefit.org and Replay's website, replaybroadway.com, where you'll get all the latest news on Replay, what's happening with it, and when you can catch it coming live to Broadway.